What is politics? Politics is a process by which group of people make certain decisions. Even if we take it in general terms, what sort of politics is going on in the human communities? Now, there are people having common views, they group together and they have certain ideas, they have certain ideals, they want to achieve those objectives and goals collectively in life. So if they group together and they try to propagate it, try to convince other human beings, grab the power and try to implement their ideas. That is what we mean in politics in general. But we are talking politics with reference to education system. Now, uh, uh, as I said, politics involves the use of power, influence, and authority, especially in the allocation of things which people want. And in with reference to education, I'll narrate you one, two incidents that would further make this concept clear to you. Now, before partition of Indo-Pak, for about 200 years, Britishers ruled this piece of land. Now, before they started creating their influence, and then ultimately after 1858, 57 War of Independence, they actually brought the whole area under their empire. The education system in our country was totally different. So when the East India Company overpowered and started governing this piece of land, they started introducing education system which served their interest. East India Company now started English medium schools. They started discouraging Arabic and Persian, which were very common then. And they discouraged it to that extent that people used to say "Pado Farsi becho tail." That was very common saying. "Pado Farsi becho tail," meaning by that in case you are going to go into Oriental system of education, then you would be serving as menials. And if you follow the education system introduced by the East India Company, and they introduced such an education system that would produce them clerics, low level government servants. Obviously, the bosses were the white people, the Englishmen. So such a system was education was used as an instrument. Why I'm referring that politics of education in East India Company modified the education system in a way that served the interests of the Britishers. I'll not go into greater detail, otherwise I'll, a lot of time will be spent on that. I give you another instance to make it further clear to you. The incidents after the independence. After the independence, we tried to change the subjects and try to change the education system to some extent, but it did not significantly change. I want to narrate one special episode, very interesting, and because the terminologies and or the concepts and the ideas they are little boring, I would say. So I'm bringing that very episode to you to just to create interest amongst you. There was a bureaucrat in Pakistan. He was in district management group during the times of Ayub regime, General Ayub Khan. He was a, and he then after retirement he rose up to senior level, a senior bureaucrat, senior civil servant. He wrote his biography. His name was Qudratullah Shahab. Qudratullah Shahab. He wrote his autobiography and named that book Shahab Nama. That is very famous. That's available in all almost all libraries. That gives us a good history of how the early years of Pakistan, especially different systems, education system, health system, and other governing systems. He says that in 1960s, he was Deputy Commissioner Jung. While he was Deputy Commissioner Jung, he was new, he has just come in. That one day he was told that one feudal lord of the area has come to visit him to see him. He has to come to call on him. He called him. That feudal lord, this is what he writes in his book Shabnama. That feudal lord tells the DC Saab, that is Qudratullah Shah, sir, I have come to allocate a big chunk of land for construction of school. So this land is a donation from my side. Please issue an executive order of establishing a school here. Of course, the rest of the expenditures to be borne by the state. He said, I got very happy because the land was very costly. That was a canal irrigated area. So I asked my staff members to get the papers from him and write a letter immediately to the top echelon that school may be sanctioned. Qudratullah Shahab writes in his book that after 2-3 weeks have passed, another feudal lord came. And when I met him, I was surprised. That feudal lord too said, sir, I am donating this much of land. Please establish a school here. I was surprised. When he left, I called one of my old staff member who belonged to the same area, Jang. I said, what's going on? The people are so nice, so good, so education loving here. That man smiled and said, sir, it's not so you are thinking. The first man who came and donated land in the area of influence of his rival political feudal lord. And the rival feudal lord came back and countered his move by donating a land in the area of influence of the first feudal lord. They were not establishing schools in their own areas of influence. And the reason was that they thought that in case the school is opened in the rival person's land, that in area people would start getting education and awareness would increase, and that would loosen the grip of that rival feudal lord. Understand that? I have narrated this second incident, politics of education. Education affects, education definitely affects human beings. And those who control the policies of education, they use it as an implement to affect. So the when we talk of the word politics of education, try to understand that it means or it refers to the interplay between political processes, institutions, and actors in shaping educational policies, systems, and practices. What is politics of education? What sort of education you are going to give to which section of the population, where you are going to establish the schools, what curriculum you are going to implement, whether that curriculum creates awareness or it serves the vested interests of those who are getting that type of curriculum included in the curriculum. That is very important. So in politics of education, influential people, powerful people, pressure groups, they modify the whole system as East India Company did in pre-partition times. So after East India Company have left, now there are pressure groups in the country. I would not name them. They may be feudal lords, they may be Sardar of a tribal leaders, they may be religious leaders, they may be professionals, industrialists. There are different pressure groups. They affect the education policies, and by affecting the education policies, affect the population as a whole. So, what is politics of education? It involves influence of political ideologies, power dynamics, and policy decisions on the structure, funding, and administration of education. Should I give you another example out of the book? These two examples, which I have already given you, they are not in your book. Just to make you understand these difficult concepts, I'm adding on to it. Now, what you include in your curriculum, those curriculum masters, now accordingly, now nowadays, if you go on social media, you find such sarcastic remarks that this is written in Mutalia, Pakistan studies. This is written there. So in Mutalia, Pakistan, for instance, the history has not been written 100% as the history is. For instance, if you go in Sindh, giving you an example, and you call Muhammad bin Qasim as the liberator, one who liberated Sindh from the Hindu Raja Dair, they would sharply react to it and say, do not tell us the stories written in Mutalia, Pakistan. And they would dig out and quote sources. I'm not citing any one of them. I'm just telling you that the way you present the curriculum, you affect the masses accordingly. They would say that, well, he was the nephew of one of the most cruel rulers we had in Muslim history, Hajjaj bin Yusuf. He was his nephew, and he was not sent to liberate the women who were under the oppression of Raja Dair. In fact, it was the reverse of it. They were oppressed women. They had migrated from those lands came and settled here, and they were followed from those lands. First, they were Rajadar was asked, demanded to hand over those families to them. Once he refused to hand over, they attacked Raja Dahir. I'm just telling you, no, please, for heaven's sake, I'm not siding anyone. I'm trying to explain to you the concept of politics of education.